What's going on, good people? It's your boy Iceberg here, coming to you from the garden. Wanted to give you a quick update on some of the things we got going on. I've been taking you along for the journey on all the things I've been doing, all the updates I've been making, any progress we've had with growth on our plants, all of that stuff. So I'm going to keep on taking you along for the journey now. And of course, somewhere in there, I'm gonna try to drop a message in there for you as well, because I've got a lot of things on my mind. Channel's name is IcebergThoughts, so you get to hear a little bit of my thoughts along the way as well. Come on, let's take a look at what we got going on. Starting here at our cage, you see our squash plant right here on the end. This thing is taking off. It's starting to grow up the trellis the way we want it to. You see it's coming from down there in that bucket right here, and it's growing up the trellis. Growing, around and through it. I've helped it, kind of encouraged it, but it's doing what we wanted to do. Down there, we got a couple more of them that, they're a little bit behind, but as they start to grow out, I'll encourage them to grow up the trellis as well. We're doing the same thing with our watermelon plant here in the middle, trying to encourage it to grow up the trellis. Salute to the homie Rich. He gave me some pointers on the watermelon. I've never grown watermelon successfully, to produce fruit, but the homie Rich, he was letting me know that the leaves on watermelon don't like to get wet, and he was saying if you can use like a drip irrigation watering system or something like that will probably work very well. So that's something I'm gonna look into. I'm just attempting to not get the leaves wet when I'm watering them now, but I'm going to look at incorporating a drip irrigation type of system in for some of my vegetables that the leaves are a little specific about how they get watered, things like that. But the cage is looking good, and I don't know if any of you noticed it from the start of the video, but I've had some people on the People's Garden website, and they were not asking me, they're asking in general, because I don't know everything. I'm learning as I go as well. But there were some people on there asking about why their leaves are wilting. They have what was it? Can't remember what the specific vegetable was, but the leaves were wilting on it. And so they're asking why that's happening. And there's a couple different reasons why leaves wilt. Sometimes it's because they're not getting enough water. And then sometimes it's because during this time of the year, in certain areas, like here in North Carolina, when we're having a bunch of 90-degree days back to back, and the sun is just going straight directly onto the plants, it causes the leaves to wilt. So if the watering is not the issue for you, then it may be because they're getting just a little bit too much direct hot sun on them for however many hours a day. So if you noticed in the beginning of the video, I'm not sure if you did, but you can get a shade cloth. So I just got this today. It just came in. I actually got this off of Amazon, but you can find them, wherever. I'm not sponsored by anybody, so I'm not giving out any sponsors. But if you get you some shade cloth, you can kind of control how much sun is coming through. This one says it's a 50-50, so it should be, I guess, supposedly shading 50% of the sun. Now, the way I have mine attached, I can remove it still. I just have it kind of hooked on some screws as opposed to it permanently attached. So I can still remove it and, allow them to get the full sun if I need to. But that's an option that you have. Again, get you some shade cloth if you need. This is, a black shade cloth, so this is kind of preventing some of the sun from coming through. They also have the white cloths that you can get, similar to my cloth that I have here going over my little mini hoop house and over my little shelf back there, covering up my leafy greens. You have a couple different options that you can get to prevent the amount of sun that's hitting directly on your plants. And they still get sun, of course they still need to get their 6-8 hours or whatever of sun. But here during this time of year, the sun is out for, what time does the sun come up? Sun's coming up around 6 something, and it's not getting dark until almost 9 at night. So we have a good 12 to 15 hours of sun available. So with these plants, these vegetables only needing 6 to 8 hours of full sun, and we're getting more than double that. If I just cut the sun percentage coming through, they're still going to get their full 12 hours, 15 hours of sun. I can't control that, but I can control how much of the sun is hitting on my plants. So gardening is, you know, it's a science to it. You have to play around with the conditions for your area. That's, you know, that's the thing. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody's situation is specific to their climate, to your soil, to what you're growing. All of those things matter, and they all vary. So as you get out and experiment in your garden, you'll learn what's going on in your soil. That's a, you know, key starting point. If you got bad soil, bad dirt, you're going to get bad everything. Make sure you got good clean water. That's important. Bad water, you're going to get bad everything. So your dirt, your soil, and your water, those are two key important factors that if you don't take care of them, you're not going to produce anything that you want, because it's not going to be healthy for you to eat anyways if it's bad water and bad soil. Let's go upstairs and see what we got going on. Upstairs in our greenhouse, you can see our cabbage is looking really nice. It's starting to head up really well. So we did a good thing by rescuing our cabbage from outdoors and bringing it into our greenhouse, protecting it from the cabbage worms, because we're getting nice heads of cabbage starting to form, and it's just looking really happy in here. We got the stuff that we planted just a couple days ago from our People's Garden subscription box. Not expecting anything to sprout from them yet for a couple more days. Move over to our tomato plant. You see we have, you know, green tomatoes everywhere on this thing. I mean, they're just exploding all over the place. And down here on the bottom, some of our early ones are starting to turn for us. We got two nice sized ones there that are starting to turn. They'll be ripe here in a couple days. Another one up above it that's getting ripe. So our tomato plant, we've also done a good thing and have been able to save this, because, you know, we were getting that blossom end rot, but we added our calcium in the form of lime to our soil, and now this plant is just taking off. It has exploded. Coming over to our herb garden, I learned something this weekend. For me, gardening is a continuous research, you know, continuous learning process, picking up new things from people that you don't know. And I think I discussed it in a previous video. I'm not sure. This is our free tomato plant, the one that just started growing out of, you know, on its own, kind of wildly from things we had dug down in the soil before, and it's actually starting to produce a tomato right there. So here soon we'll see what kind of tomato that is. But what I learned was, so this is our cilantro, and it's obviously, you know, doesn't look like cilantro anymore. It's grown beyond its, you know, leaves that you eat normally or see in different things. And what cilantro actually grows, and it does its own seeds. So all these little pods on here, these are seeds. So what I learned is that I'll let this stay here and dry out, you know, kind of come a brown stalk, and let the seeds start to dry out. And then I'll be able to harvest these seeds right off of here. And then I'll have some seeds to plant some cilantro again next season. But also, if you didn't know, the seeds on our cilantro plant are actually coriander. But I plan to harvest these and use them to plant more cilantro next season. So cilantro is apparently an easy plant to harvest the seeds from. That way you don't have to buy them again. And that's what we're looking for, is sustainability. We're trying to figure out how we can become more self-sustainable. Self-sustainability, that's what it's all about for me. That's the big reason why I got into gardening, growing my own food. It's about being able to sustain ourselves. For me, if I take care of the necessities, food, water, shelter, I'm not really concerned with a whole lot of other things. So as I'm providing more and more of the food for my family, we have access to good, clean water, and we have shelter, I'm not worried about a whole lot of other things going on. All of these things of the world, all of these things that society wants us to focus on, Heck, even some of the things going on in the YouTube streets, it's not stuff I really concern myself with, and or give too much effort to, give too much of my time and thought process to, because it's not anything that's helping me sustain my family, and it's not impacting me from sustaining my family either. The war in Ukraine, gas prices, they're a little bit of an issue, but the food shortages, things like that, those are not things that impact my family. So I'm not really spending a whole lot of time concerning myself with those things. Why? Because I'm taking the steps and actions now to combat having to deal with those things. The more self-sustainable we become, the less we have to actually subscribe to or be impacted by the things that are happening all around the rest of the world in just the societies. The less we have to feel the impact of the decisions that these politicians are making. Yeah, it does have impact on all of us, but how much time and focus we give to them is our own individual choices. There are more and more people every day adopting off-grid lifestyles, or homesteading lifestyles, things like that, that removes them from the everyday life of society. They may spend days, weeks, months, maybe even years detached and removed from the regular everyday society. Now, they understand and hear things that are going on. They're not like in a cave, they have access to radio, internet, all of that stuff, so they still understand what's going on, but they get to 100% choose how much of that they bring into their life, how much time and effort they spend on that, how much brain power they give to it. But the point of me saying all of that is to say that every one of us can live that lifestyle no matter where we're located. You don't have to be off-grid, living where there's no connection to running water or power, that's city provided or provided by some major power company. You don't have to be connected to that stuff right where you are. No matter where you're located, you determine how much you rely on those things. And there's alternative sources to achieving those things. I believe the only limitations we have are the ones that we place upon ourselves, the ones that we subscribe to in this society. But we all have the individual choice whether or not we want to subscribe to those limitations or not. All of the titles, all of the different categories that society wants to place us in, we don't have to say that we belong to that category or statistic or whatever it is. We don't have to choose that. I don't choose that. I don't subscribe to most of the holidays that y'all celebrate, that people celebrate. I think a lot of the holidays that are placed in front of people are put there to make them feel good about something, but at the same time distract them from what's really going on all around them. You gotta really look into these things. Think about what's happening all around you. If you're subscribing to all of these societal things and they're not taking you anywhere, then maybe you should think about whether or not you should subscribe to these things anymore. Same thing like people that we subscribe to, let's say on YouTube. You don't subscribe to the things that somebody is speaking, then why are you subscribed to their channel? You support them when you subscribe to their channel. Now, YouTube is not about money for me. Obviously, my channel's not monetized. I don't have nearly enough subscribers to have a monetized channel. That's not what it's about. It's about coming out here and educating the people, speaking truth to people, and trying to help people learn how they can actually think for themselves, build themselves, grow for themselves, and fully take care of themselves without relying on the government or anybody else to take care of them. That's what it's about for me. So it's not about monetization for me. But for the people who it is about monetization for, ask yourself if you are doing things that are morally within your character. Because you're doing them for a job. YouTube is a job for you. If you're doing YouTube for the money, that means YouTube is your job. Now, there are other people who are getting money from YouTube, but they're not doing YouTube for the money. So it's not their job. It's just something they're doing on the side. But if this is your source of income, your main source of income, and it's the reason why you're doing it is for the dollars, then it's a job for you. That means all the company policy and all of that stuff that YouTube puts on you, you have to go with. But it's our job as viewers of content to decide whether or not we subscribe to that person. And if that person falls below the number of subscribers they need, they're no longer monetized. And maybe it forces them to think about their moves and actions. No matter what an individual chooses to subscribe to, right is right and wrong is wrong. And if you're subscribed to wrong, then it makes you a part of wrong. If you're subscribed to and contributing to right, then it makes you a part of right. And now, yeah, you can be subscribed to both, but where are you going if you're just kind of counteracting yourself? If you're not actually focused, narrowly focused on one path, either going right or wrong. Now, for me, life is, the way I'm trying to live life, it's about peace of mind. Peace of mind. That's what I'm looking for, is peace of mind. And that's what I have. Why? Because I have my shelter, my water, and my food. Those things give me the peace of mind that I need. They keep stress up off of me. I'm not stressing about money. Money comes and goes. I don't worship money. Only reason I make money is out of the necessity. It's not for the luxury, it's out of necessity. But I'm not worshiping money. I don't do things for money. I do things out of right and wrong. I believe it's right to educate the good people, to encourage the good people, to try to get good people to plant their own food, to focus on building their own community, sharing with their community, building everybody up, and steering attention away from the negative. If we all focus on the positive, if we all are working towards the positive, then we'll all get positive outcomes. Yeah, there'll be some setbacks along the way, but that's a part of being a positive person. Whenever you're a positive person, that means all of the negative people are going to be looking at you. And the negative people are loud. They're very boisterous. Why? Because they use fear as a tactic, bullying. They try to get you to be quiet about your positive. Because the negative is intriguing, it's interesting, it draws viewers. And the negative will give you some short-term rewards, some short-term profits. But the positive, that's where we reap the real harvest, the real true harvest. So I want to say salute to all the good people out there. Salute to everybody that's standing on the side of truth. Salute to everybody that's trying to do something positive with their platform. Salute to all the good people out there who's doing the good positive work. Got their foot on the neck of the negative people out there. Y'all keep on doing y'all's thing. Y'all will be victorious in the end, because the positive will always come out victorious over the negative. We all know that. Y'all continue to stand strong in your fight. Continue to expose the truth that you know. All of us back here watching, we know the truth as well. Real recognize real. But I want everybody to take some time and think about focusing. That's what we've been talking about. Last few days, other content creators been talking about it. Focus. We got to focus on the positive. Everybody that's fighting in a positive direction, you got to stay focused on your square, on your positive message. We can't worry about too much what the next person beside us is saying, because they're fighting their positive fight too. And what they're saying don't necessarily have impact on you. We can all say our positive messages at the same time. Long as we're not saying the negative message, we're doing the right thing. So if we're all yelling our positive message on our different platforms in whatever way we do it, I'll talk about gardening, some other people talk about other things, but as long as we're all screaming our positive message on our own platforms, we're all going to be taking the ship in the right direction, right? Rising tide, you know, raises all ships. So we all rising the tide, cutting out those negative rabbits and focusing on what we're doing, we're going to be victorious. But we all got to get our peace of mind. We got to get that stress up off of us. We got to stop putting focus on the things that cause the stress in our lives. And we got to focus on the things that give us this peace of mind. The peace to know that we got good, clean water. We got some good, clean food. We got some nice, safe, secure shelter. And all the rest of the stuff don't matter too much. All right, good people, I've taken up enough of your time. This is Iceberg. Salute.
Now, as they say in your country, let us be out.